At one point, Frank Sinatra growled and ultimately listed the 5 stars he detested the most. The board chairman never held back when speaking, and beneath his charisma and easygoing demeanor was a man with more resentment than anyone in Hollywood. In this uncommon and shocking disclosure, Sinatra revealed the identities and animosities that decades later fans are still shocked by. Marlon Brando. Two of the most recognizable names in American film from the middle of the 20th century, Frank Sinatra and Marlon Brando had quite different work ethics, personalities, and approaches to their trade. Theirs was one of Hollywood's most well-known feuds. Their hostility stems from their work together on the 1955 musical Guys and Dolls and exemplifies how ego conflicts and creative disagreements can cause enduring resentment amongst icons. Frank Sinatra was already well known by the middle of the 1950s as a multi-talented performer, a well-known singer with a smooth, captivating manner, and an actor who had just won an Academy Award for 1953's From Here to Eternity. Sinatra's experience performing live and in music influenced his acting style. He frequently preferred to finish his scenes fast and without any hassle since he valued efficiency, directness, and a no-nonsense attitude on set. In contrast, Marlon Brando served as the face of the emerging method acting movement, which frequently required many rehearsals and significant emotional preparation and placed an emphasis on a character's deep psychological immersion. Acting in Hollywood was transformed by Brando's innovative roles in movies like A Streetcar Named Desire, 1951. And he became known as one of the most serious and dedicated actors of his time. Together, the two performed in Guys and Dolls, a vibrant, upbeat version of the Broadway musical that takes place in the sordid underworld of New York City's gambling scene, and tensions erupted almost instantly. Cast as Nathan Detroit, the showgirl, Sinatra embodied his signature charm and easy elegance. He frequently pushed for doing scenes in 1 or 2 takes and favored a fast-paced shooting schedule. He believed that excessive rehearsal may destroy a performance's spontaneity and organic rhythm, which was reflected in his working approach. Playing Sky Masterson, Brando had a totally different attitude. He insisted on methodical rehearsals, occasionally declining to perform passages until he had completely embodied his character both mentally and emotionally. Sinatra publicly criticized Brando's manner as being too slow and fussy, and his subdued, nearly mumbling delivery earned him the derisive epithet, Mumbles. In response, Brando retaliated behind the scenes by calling Sinatra a Goomba, a slang term from Italian-American street culture that implies a tough guy or thug, but also implies that the individual is rather crass or uneducated. The moniker conveyed Brando's contempt towards Sinatra's upbringing and manner, which he thought was not genuine acting but more showbiz glamour. Their divergent work habits were the main source of their dispute. Although Sinatra wanted a fast-paced set in order to shoot moments quickly and keep the production going, he also required professionalism. On the other hand, Brando felt that the tempo was too quick and opposed Sinatra's insistence on efficiency by not practicing or allowing several takes that fell short of his creative standards. Sinatra, who wasn't used to working with actors who interrupted the shooting, was irritated by this rejection. The two have reportedly engaged in furious disputes, silent stares, and passive-aggressive behavior. Every time the two had to share a scene, the tension on set became evident. According to cast and crew, there was tension in the air while filming. It was hard to overlook the obvious hostility between Sinatra and Brando. Even as other performers and staff members attempted to maintain objectivity or concentrate on the performance, the feud was obviously more than just a professional one. It was now intimate. Their animosity was fueled by fundamental cultural and temperamental differences that went beyond work habits and acting styles. Having come from a working-class Italian-American family and having worked hard to break through his reputation as a nightclub singer in order to gain recognition as an actor, Sinatra frequently found himself defending his identity and professional trajectory. Brando, with his analytical style and deep commitment to the art form, viewed Sinatra's demeanor as representative of a commercial, laid-back Hollywood celebrity, which he appeared to despise. Brando's contempt was more than just business. There was an underlying sense of artistic and cultural supremacy. Equally proud and fiercely independent, Sinatra became enraged at Brando's perceived pretentiousness and distance. Given their different temperaments and the intense pressure of the filming setting, their loathing of one another was all but inevitable. After Guys and Dolls was finished, the feud continued. As time went on, Sinatra and Brando continued to be a part of a feud that has never been publicly mended, but is occasionally mentioned in Hollywood rumors and interviews. Neither man tried to put the argument behind him. Indeed, the hostility became ingrained in their own mythology, a quintessential illustration of Hollywood egos and conflicting approaches that both fans and historians would recite with interest. In subsequent interviews, Sinatra persisted in making fun of Brando's stuttering delivery, and Brando never changed his opinion of Sinatra's character. Although it isn't always at the center of their careers, it remained in the background, serving as a reminder that two titans of film were unable to agree. In addition to the people involved, the Sinatra-Brando dispute is still noteworthy because it represented a larger conflict in Hollywood in the 1950s. The shift from vintage studio movies with a focus on big stars to a new age of method acting and psychological realism. Sinatra stood for the traditional entertainer who achieved success by charisma, ease, and quickness. The new generation of actors was personified by Brando, who explored character psychology in great detail, frequently at the price of effectiveness and conventional Hollywood discipline. Their conflict highlighted how difficult it was for casts and studios to compromise on these strategies. It also tells a human narrative of pride, miscommunication, and the challenges of working together as strong-willed artists with radically different perspectives on their art. John Wayne. Their diametrically opposed political philosophies were the main cause of their disagreement. A representation of traditional American conservatism was John Wayne. Wayne, often known as the Duke, was a staunch opponent of communism, a traditionalist believer in military bravery and a tough patriot. In interviews and film selections, he was outspoken about his conservative beliefs, frequently playing characters that praised American bravery and fervently opposed communism. He was active in politics off of the screen. Wayne was a well-known advocate for Republican policies and issues, representing an America rooted in conservative values and a strong sense of patriotism. However, particularly in the late 1950s and early 1960s, Frank Sinatra tended to take a more liberal and progressive political stance. John F. Kennedy, whose election to the presidency signaled a change in the political climate in America, had him as a personal friend and vocal supporter. Sinatra was associated with a wave of social transformation because of his passion for Kennedy and the Democratic Party's liberal principles, which stand in stark contrast to Wayne's conservative beliefs. The ideological divide between Wayne and Sinatra became even more pronounced as Sinatra used his fame to support civil rights and was a member of the growing Hollywood camp that supported Kennedy. But their hostility was not limited to their political disagreements. Professional criticism and personal conflicts fueled the flames. The most notorious altercation between the two celebrities took place while The Alamo, 1960, was being made. John Wayne himself is the director and star of this historical epic. The film, which was Wayne's passion project, was meant to tell the story of the valiant defense of Texans against Mexican soldiers during the Battle of the Alamo in 1836. It was a tale of sacrifice and patriotism. Wayne's conservative views were reflected in the film's concept, which placed a strong emphasis on American exceptionalism, duty, and bravery. Never one to hold back when voicing his opinions, Sinatra publicly denounced the Alamo as jingoistic. The overt patriotism in the movie, according to Sinatra, appeared unduly patriotic and unsophisticated, displaying an assertive brand of American pride that he found unsettling, particularly in the backdrop of the tense Cold War. Wayne was greatly insulted by this critique since he saw the Alamo as a sincere homage to American values and valor. Sinatra's remarks were interpreted as a personal assault on Wayne's morals and character, as well as a criticism of the movie. Following Sinatra's comments, the two became increasingly tense. In rare and open statements from the typically reticent star, Wayne later acknowledged in interviews that he couldn't tolerate Sinatra. Wayne's contempt was overt. He believed that Sinatra's liberal views and friendship with Kennedy typified a Hollywood elite that was disconnected from the American people. Wayne saw Sinatra as a symbol of a culture that was moving more and more away from conventional values and toward what he saw as perilous societal change. According to reports, Sinatra returned Wayne's dislike. According to historical accounts, Sinatra thought Wayne's extremely conservative beliefs were narrow-minded and his filmmaking was too masculine and straightforward. Sinatra's contempt for Wayne's dogmatic viewpoint was influenced by his own experiences navigating a profession that involved promoting progressive issues and dealing with a variety of audiences. After the Alamo incident, the two celebrities seldom ever, if ever, crossed paths socially or professionally because of their profound animosity for one another. This conflict served as a metaphor for the larger cultural divide in Hollywood and American culture early in the 1960s. The Cold War, social progress, and civil rights caused a great deal of division in the nation. Additionally, the entertainment business reflected similar divisions. The dispute between Sinatra and Wayne was more than just a personal grudge. It was an expression of the ideological conflicts raging throughout the country. Their rivalry garnered attention not only due to their celebrity status, but also because it represented a conflict between two opposing ideologies for America. Both men maintained their professional success in the years that followed, but they stayed apart. Wayne, who starred in many westerns and war movies that praised American bravery, continued to be a symbol of conservative patriotism. Politically, Sinatra changed as well, though his early enthusiasm for liberal ideals never completely faltered, notwithstanding his rocky connection with the Kennedy administration. However, the animosity between these Hollywood titans never really went away. Although less intense, their rivalry lasted a long time in Hollywood legend, and it was more widely reported than some celebrity feuds. It demonstrated how friendships and partnerships, even between the most well-known and famous artists, may be shattered by the junction of politics and personalities. Although Sinatra and Wayne never made amends, their feud provides insight into the intricacies of celebrity culture during a turbulent period in American history when the screen frequently served as a battlefield for ideological conflicts. Peter Lawford. In the past, Peter Lawford was an important member of the renowned Rat Pack, the brilliant group of performers led by Frank Sinatra that ruled Hollywood social circles and the Las Vegas scene in the late 1950s and early 1960s. In addition to being an actor, Lawford, a dapper British American with a debonair charm, was an essential social link for the group, lending their adventures a touch of sophistication and Hollywood glitz. His connections went well beyond the entertainment industry, chief among them being his union with Patricia Kennedy, the sister of Senator John F. Kennedy at the time. Lawford's affiliation with the emerging Kennedy political family gave their already powerful group even more status and clout. At the height of the Rat Pack's popularity, Sinatra and Lawford were close friends. They frequently appeared together in public, hosting extravagant events and sharing the stage. Lawford's association with the Kennedys bolstered Sinatra's personal aspirations, especially because Sinatra fervently backed JFK's bid for president in 1960. Sinatra thought he could assist Kennedy win California's vital votes with his Hollywood connections and Rat Pack support. Thus, Sinatra and Lawford's friendship had profoundly political as well as social functions. As a trusted insider who could open doors to power, Sinatra saw Lawford as his personal conduit to the White House. But in 1962, the peace in their partnership was abruptly broken by an incident that would create a long-lasting split between the two men and alter the dynamics inside the Rat Pack. A very delicate subject was at the heart of the incident. Alleged ties between Sinatra and organized crime had grown to be a major political risk for the Kennedy administration. Despite long-standing rumors and whispers in Hollywood circles regarding Sinatra's connections to specific mob people, the White House was well aware of the possible crisis such relationships may bring during JFK's presidency. Sinatra was excited to welcome President Kennedy to his Palm Springs house in 1962 when the president was scheduled to visit California. Sinatra's house was more than just an opulent retreat, it also served as a representation of his standing and power. In addition to being a huge personal honor, a presidential visit would also serve as a strong public endorsement, enhancing Sinatra's political standing. Naturally, Sinatra anticipated that Lawford, a personal friend and part of the Kennedy family, would set up the visit for him. But in the end, Lawford was unable to get the visit because he was in a difficult position, forced to balance his allegiance to Sinatra with his duties to the Kennedy administration. The administration's concern that Sinatra's known or suspected mob connections could turn into a PR catastrophe was the formal justification for this decision. Given the heavy scrutiny on JFK's image and political objectives, the White House was eager to disassociate itself from any suggestion of scandal. When Sinatra discovered, he felt profoundly betrayed by the fact that Lawford had not only failed to organize the visit, but had also effectively sided with the administration's concerns. This was more than just a political ploy for Sinatra, it was an individual betrayal of friendship and trust. Sinatra was furious because Lawford had been the person he trusted to help him move through the ranks of authority, but Lawford had put political expediency ahead of loyalty. The repercussions were dramatic and quick. Sinatra's rage led to the exclusion of Lawford from the Rat Pack. Sinatra's choice to substitute the renowned Bing Crosby for Lawford in the 1964 Rat Pack movie Robin and the Seven Hoods was one of the most well-known and emblematic indications of this shift. In addition to being a well-known singer and actor, Crosby was also someone Sinatra greatly trusted and appreciated. Crosby's entrance sent a strong message. The inner circle no longer accepted Lawford because Robin and the Seven Hoods was supposed to be one of the Rat Pack's highlight projects, fusing their celebrity status with the gangster comedy genre, which was a great fit for Sinatra's image as a tough, cool guy. In addition to losing a friend, Sinatra also broke off business relationships that had previously benefited them both by omitting Lawford. For the remainder of their lives, Sinatra and Lawford were estranged from one another. Years went by and the political and cultural climate changed, but Sinatra never forgave Lawford for what he considered to be a betrayal at the highest level, both personal and political. In icy quiet, their once unbreakable friendship came to an end. The entire episode also depicted the complex and frequently sinister relationship between organized crime, politics, and Hollywood during this time period. Whether genuine or fabricated, Sinatra's ties to mob bosses had both positive and negative effects. They made him politically poisonous to some powerful interests, but they also contributed to his famous reputation as a fierce, streetwise comedian. Lawford was in a similarly intricate situation. He finally decided to support the political wisdom that the president required. Though torn between his allegiance to Sinatra and his position as a member of the Kennedy family, some considered his actions as practical, meant to preserve the shaky reputation of a fledgling government under tremendous pressure, while others saw them as traitorous. Ava Gardner. The 1951 to 1957 marriage of Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner is frequently regarded as one of Hollywood's most intense yet tumultuous unions. Two larger-than-life personalities with exceptional charisma, talent, and emotional intensity collided violently in their relationship. The marriage, while short by celebrity union standards, had a lasting impact on their public personas and personal lives. It was characterized by a delicate dance between anger and devotion, a heady blend of passionate love and explosive conflict. Both Sinatra and Gardner were already well-known celebrities with prosperous careers and complex histories when they first met. Sinatra, also known as The Voice, was at a turning point in his career as he navigated his way out of previous disappointments and cemented his image as an actor and singer. Gardner, who is frequently regarded as one of the most attractive women of her generation, was a fiery, self-reliant actress who is well known for her seductive appearance and unwavering personality. Few could dispute the strong chemistry that characterized their marriage. According to reports, Gardner referred to Sinatra as the love of his life, which is evidence of the deep emotional bond they had. They were drawn to each other's vulnerability and attraction despite the turmoil surrounding their union, forging a bond that was both combustible and magnetic. However, there was an equally strong volatility to match the intensity of their love. In Hollywood circles, their altercations were legendary, frequently turning into unavoidable public yelling battles. Gardner and Sinatra were both renowned for having intense temperaments and strong wills, and when they collided, the outcome was frequently disastrous and dramatic. Friends, insiders, and people close to the couple have recounted scenes of heated confrontations that occasionally resulted in physical destruction with smashed goods and broken furniture scattered around rooms. The emotional instability that simmered beneath the surface of their relationship was reflected in the fury of their arguments, a concoction of pride, insecurity, jealousy, and the strains of juggling two hard occupations under the harsh spotlight of the public view. Their personal troubles made their turbulent marriage even more difficult. Gardner struggled with drinking and a need for autonomy, which occasionally clashed with Sinatra's strong demand for commitment and control. Love and contempt were frequently mixed together in this tense atmosphere, which was exacerbated by Sinatra's own professional demands and relationships with other women. There were delicate and sincere moments of affection despite the chaos. Songs by Sinatra during this time were frequently seen as expressions of his sentiments for Gardner, a period characterized by passion and desire. Similarly, despite occasionally being scathing, Gardner's public remarks also demonstrated a deep affection for Sinatra that few outsiders could quite comprehend. Their 1957 divorce did not mark a definitive end to their relationship. Rather, it signaled the start of a new complex stage in their relationship that was marked by chilly exchanges and public jabs. Gardner never shied away from creating harsh, scathing comments about Sinatra in interviews, perhaps critiquing his character or way of life with a mixture of resentment and unresolved feelings. Her remarks frequently implied that underlying her criticisms, there was still a great deal of hurt and sadness about the potential of their marriage. For his part, Sinatra either remained silent in response to Gardner's comments or gave thoughtful, occasionally wry responses. He didn't often argue in public, but when he did, his answers were tinged with a mix of reluctant respect and damaged pride. This tugging of old scars and a complex past from which neither could completely escape characterized their relationship after the divorce. The ongoing dynamic between Sinatra and Gardner was representative of the tragic romanticism that is frequently present in Hollywood relationships, where even the strongest couples can be torn apart by personal demons and public scrutiny. and where deep love coexists with destructive tendencies. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart and Frank Sinatra were both titans of American entertainment in the middle of the 20th century. Each of them is a cultural icon whose unique personalities and extraordinary talent helped to establish Hollywood's golden period. At first, they were friends, particularly in the close-knit social circles known as the Holmby Hills Rat Pack, which was a forerunner of the more well-known Las Vegas Rat Pack. In the end, this friendship soured. The causes of their relationship's breakdown provide insight into the intricate interactions between egos, influence, and individual allegiances in the affluent social environment of Hollywood in the 1950s. Sinatra was experiencing an incredible career comeback in the early 1950s. With his Academy Award-winning performance in From Here to Eternity, 1953, and his ongoing success as a singer, he had restored his reputation as a serious actor after experiencing a sharp drop in popularity in the late 1940s. Now that his comeback was confirmed, Sinatra was rapidly rising to prominence in Hollywood, not merely socially but also professionally. He developed a powerful network of friends and admirers thanks to his captivating charisma, charm, and unwavering drive, and he grew more and more involved in the most exclusive events in the entertainment industry. Bogart, on the other hand, was already a well-known and respected celebrity by this point, distinguished by his tough guy persona and distinctive cynicism. His unique style was more about a grounded, unpretentious presence than it was about flamboyance. Lauren Bacall, his wife, was part of the social milieu of Holmby Hills, a wealthy neighborhood of Los Angeles where many celebrities resided. They were equally respected and had one of Hollywood's most durable and admired marriages. Bacall and Bogart were regarded as community leaders. Tensions between Bogart and Sinatra continued to simmer as his fame grew. According to reports, Bogart didn't enjoy Sinatra's growing sway over their mutual social circle. Sinatra had a reputation for controlling social situations and occasionally overshadowing other characters with his vivacity and commanding presence. Although Sinatra's charm attracted many to him, some like Bogart saw his increasing authority as a danger to the harmony of the group and the more subtle dynamics that had previously prevailed. But loyalty and respect were at the heart of the conflict, especially in relation to Sinatra's treatment of Bogart's wife, Lauren Bacall. After Bogart passed away in 1957, there was allegedly a major falling out that happened when Sinatra was accused of treating Bacall disrespectfully by Bogart's friends and family. These charges imply that Sinatra's actions, whether through irresponsible statements or improper behavior, went too far and greatly hurt individuals close to Bogart, even though the details are still a little unclear. In her memoir, Lauren Bacall discussed the strained bond and alluded to the strained relationship between Sinatra and the Bogart family. Bacall felt betrayed, according to her reflections, and disillusioned, suggesting that what had been a friendly and even affectionate relationship turned into resentment and alienation. She suggested that the disintegration of trust and goodwill was exacerbated by Sinatra's ascent to fame and his frequently erratic demeanor. The consequences of the fallout were long-lasting. Although Sinatra's standing among Bogart's closest friends declined, his influence in the social circles of the entertainment industry remained strong. The incident is frequently used as a warning about how previously stable relationships can be harmed by the collision of fame, ego, and personal boundaries. The breakup between Sinatra and Bogart also highlighted how brittle friendships were in Hollywood at a time when personal and professional lives were closely entwined together with the demands of celebrity life and public scrutiny. The competitive environment has the potential to quickly transform friendship into rivalry and love into estrangement. Even after their relationship soured, Sinatra and Bogart were still highly respected in their specialized fields till they passed away. Sinatra continued to solidify his illustrious reputation as an actor and singer. However, Bogart's enduring impact on cinematic style and iconic roles solidified his reputation as one of the best movie performers of his time. Which celebrities do you believe Frank Sinatra detested the most? Please share your thoughts in the space provided below. We hope this has been useful to you. If you enjoyed it, remember to subscribe to the channel, share it, and give it a like. I appreciate you viewing, and I hope to see you in the upcoming videos. Farewell.